This week on Hermitcraft.
Shall we tell him to join the group? Yeah.
He can't hear us.
Another chance.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Touch my horde again.
Shut up and
So
join
shall
the
it
group!
be.
Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is LoyXP. Captions on this video are provided by Lyarrah. And true to form, it seems like the revolution will not be summarized. Not on this week's recap at any rate, because all the climactic videos of the Ren the King arc were posted on Saturday, one day after our cutoff for this week's script. So you've got a week to watch every Hermit's perspective before we get in there and start making goofy jokes about it. Of course, the other headline news, which we pray is still relevant when this episode goes live, is that the Hermit's big charity event is basically happening now. In fact, if you're watching this episode of the recap on the day it goes up, you're probably missing some of it, and while we appreciate your commitment, we don't mind waiting if you feel like pausing the recap and coming back to it later. But if you're still here, or in case the recap is a Monday watch for you, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with DocM77, who still plans on shooting the Hermitcraft server's answer to Walt Disney, which means he's got to build an arena, although he's got to find a solution to all the tomatoes first.
Man, those tomatoes, the attack of the killer tomatoes won't stop today though. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Man, they're lethal. The big ones, man, they can hit you so hard.
To make sure you're all caught up here, Doc's plan is to use a game-breaking arrow cannon which charges an arrow with extra momentum, then fires it through several Endermen, causing it to warp space and time and appear 3,000 blocks away, where it promptly deals more damage than a suit of netherite armor can handle. Or that was his plan, until the latest space-saving edits to the server wiped out half the arrow cannon and his warden farm for good measure.
Yeah, a full week of fiddling around here on the server to get it to run the first time. If this works now, we got so lucky.
After combing through server backups, Doc eventually reassembles the whole setup, and after one false start, it works well enough that he's happy to test it out on Etho.
I kind of hope it doesn't work, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's weird, because when you shoot an arrow, it'll bounce off the thing after, right? Or not?
Yeah. The arrow also gets obliterated, right?
Satisfied that it will destroy even the most hardened of Minecraft players, Doc goes back to tending his tomatoes and duplicating TNT ready for the next victim. Keralis has been duplicating TNT and dropping it onto himself. Somehow there's always a tree in the way, but to know the exact science you'll have to check out IanXO4's tutorial on the matter. His tree farm uses the player to both plant and bone meal the trees, and Keralis uses his tree farm. He even has a separate auto sorter for all the different kinds of wood attached to the facility, all courtesy of that time he was on his laptop just kind of playing Minecraft for its own sake.
And I'm not sure you can do dark oak, but I put it here anyway, and I do have a huge amount of mangrove from that farm, so yeah, not really bothered.
It's funny how Keralis on a laptop is that much more productive than regular Keralis. Wonder how it's tied into regular Keralis taking his time to go hang out with XB Crafted, and also being something of a gambling addict. It certainly gives XB something to distract him from restructuring his mossy cave, by which we mean adding structures to it. A cozy cave house is all very well, and the paths are nice, but does it beat staring poker-faced into Keralis' eyes and stealing diamonds from his shulkers when he's not looking?
What did we get?
But that one's okay.
Gigapod is not bad. Okay, so I picked the Gigapod then. This is all yours.
I'll just go throw that in the...
As such, Keralis takes XB to play more Aber caving, but this time inside Iskal's pie minigame. It's risks on risks for a significant reward, until they get stuck inside the thing. In exchange, XB Crafted takes him to play a new fun cake race minigame. It's a game where you try and craft a cake by memory as fast as possible while a cow named Zedaf watches you and takes pictures.
I've never baked a cake. I always use my villagers to poop out cakes. How am I doing?
13 seconds.
There's a cow called Zedaf.
The twist, of course, is that there is no cow named Zedaf. It's just the actual Zedaf, camouflaged perfectly within the cow pen. It seems Zed is on his shenanigans again, trying to spy on fellow hermits and get away without being spotted. The trouble is that it's much funnier when he is, especially because this time he's wearing custom-made skins to blend in with his environment. Full-body green screen this is not, but the trick does fool Grian for just a bit.
He is thinking really hard about which block to use. What's he doing to those seeds? He buried those seeds. Turn around. Oh! Oh! Oh, yes!
Yeah, I saw your little face.
But I'm not here!
But you're not here.
Done it. Well, I tried. You can't blame me for not trying.
And Keralis looks him straight in the face and doesn't notice, though maybe this whole operation gets a bit too close to him getting milked.
Standing in the bottom of a cow pen completely being trampled by cows for, I would say, about 45 minutes to an hour now.
One more minigame Corrales is whisked away to play is Basalt Assault. Tango Tech gathers BOO, Cubfan and him to playtest it before the big shot at the charity stream. And a good thing he did, as the first thing the four of them do is blow out the loot system, leaving one team with half as many game items. But it's all good, because it's not like they've been keeping score anyway. No, really, they weren't. The scoring system blew up even earlier. With explosives raining from above, either team was too busy to notice. Some say they're all still playing to this day.
You should have paid attention when Tango was going
I knew it was rigged from the start.
I threw 3 stacks in there, Tango.
I'm throwing
Did
some
not.
Oh, we're missing some redstone dust here. Got blown up. Yep.
Aha!
Much love comes to Tango's main minigame, Decked Out 2. Hearts and all, Tango implements the sound of a heartbeat across the dungeon that's meant to indicate the current level of danger across the instance. Though this time it's 2 record players instead of just note blocks set to drum. Quite the overkill where really this voice clip could suffice.
Bum 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 bum.
Also, the artifact arts have been revamped into referencing the Hermitcraft members, but you should check those out in his own video. Pearlescent Moon is finally able to pick up shulker boxes again, having disposed of the dare stick, and that means the cleaning lady can wave her feather duster around XP Crafted's possessions for money.
Yeah, I'm going to classify this as a large for now, but I'm not going to make you pay ahead of time because I've learnt in the past that I have horribly miscalculated on some people's. There's messes inside messes that I don't see until I actually do it. So I'm going to wait till after, if that's okay.
If you see a shulker of emerald blocks.
Yes, I get to keep them, right? Yeah.
Just, if you could put them like right
okay.
here, I'll double your price.
Oh! Is that a challenge? I get to find your emerald box.
You can make it a challenge.
In that case.
And that money is well spent on some content from Grumbot. Pearl receives the prompt to mildly irritate Rendog with pointed dripstone. It seems like an easy task since he and the pointy stuff have a history, but Pearl decides to drip 2 birds with 1 stone and makes Ren watch while she uses a falling stalactite to take down the "Thou shalt not mine diamonds" decree. Or she tries to anyway. The piston misbehaves, but beyond that, it's pretty satisfying.
Pressure plates.
It's too bad. Do it anyway. Watch it fall. Wait, it's not. Wait, what did it do? Hold on. What happened?
Although not quite as satisfying as her dare for Cleo, which, as we knew from last week, challenges her to feed some highly suspicious stew to the soup group's greatest adversaries. Luckily, we already covered what Cleo did with all that soup in our last week's recap, so this time we get to find out what she then did with the dare stick too. Surprising no one, she went directly to Ijevin and whapped him on the noggin. The exact dare is to sabotage his side in the upcoming tournament for the King's Crown, which of course we will cover in the dedicated segment of the recap.
So, Jevin.
Okay.
I dare you, go to the King's tournament, and I want you to sabotage your side.
Oh god, that's mean. But I'll so do
I
it.
know.
How bad does the sabotage have to be? Because I don't think I can stop them totally, but I could be like, oh no, I don't know what I'm doing.
No. I just want them to think you're an idiot.
Till then, Jevin explains to his audience how to build one of his favourite early game farms where you force villagers into farming crops for you, then revamps the landing platform of his gold farm. Well, crashing platform. Dying, really. Pigs to gold nuggets conversion pad. You can extort many more metals from the undead, but it's best you do it away from the central end island. Azuma Void has had his copper farm in the vicinity, and the dozens of gathered drowned have already gotten in the way of some hermits a few times. Thus, X has decided to move his army of darkness out into the void. There, far away from where they hurt anyone, he rebuilds the copper farm and delights in the hilarity of leading the zombies to it.
I don't want to keep banging on about it, but I am just like, it is kind of hypnotic how they're all in a perfect line. Yeah, look, that is such a cool sight.
It's almost as funny as him leaving a box of diamonds right by the minigame meant to blow up. Yeah, that's just about as gone as all those zombies now. Stress Monster could do without so many zombies too. She's not that committed to the Halloween thing. Although she is committed to the Halloween look, and her may or may not be haunted mansion build. She also starts out by digging around in a huge pumpkin pie, so really the zombies are the exception, now that we think about it. Stress scores the shulker box, which includes an IOU from the king, which A, Iskall may not have run by the king beforehand, and B, might have reached its expiration date already, judging by the events of this weekend. But at least Stress can focus on the positive. Her mansion looks awesome at this point, especially if you look at it from an angle which conceals the fact that the back isn't done.
Look, we now have a floor for our, first floor? We're doing well. This is gonna look amazingly spooky when it's all done.
Though who are we to drag on her? Our script for the Grumbot retrospective is also missing the back half, not helped by them progressively adding onto it. For one, Good Times with Scar got to ask the robot if he was a good mayor back in the dimension where Mumbo won, to which he's been told yes, for 5 minutes. Were those the same 5 minutes his Grian was sorry for? The machine did not clarify.
A good mayor or mayor that is for only 5 minutes. How did I lose the mayorship? What happened? Did Mumbo become a good mayor? Was he a bad mayor? I don't get it. I'm so confused. Man of Few Words Grian says, well, Mumbo did win in this universe, but apparently I won and was the best for 5 minutes. So what happened to me, Grumbot?
In the meantime, the rift he came through is acting up as well. Jevin actually pays it a visit and hears voices echoing through the dimensions.
It's freaking me out, man. Rift's haunted. The rift is absolutely haunted. Nope, can't do it.
Grian spots a pig coming through and naturally launches a TNT block back. False actually tries to push the begin button again, but that zaps her with electricity. It's not clear why, but she assumes it's from Grumbot. Let's face it, he would. One way or another, it's clear a mystery has formed, and darn it, we already used up the King's Grumbot splash screen.
Dude, that's not right.
But before we play the Game of Thrones, we have to address the throne of games, and boy have they thrown a lot of games together this week. The most straightforward one would be Good Times with Scars. It does, after all, go straightforwardly down. Scar invites the hermits to do their own stunts and jump out of the helicopters ruffling over the district, with no parachute. The challenge is not only to MLG water bucket yourself out of a sure death, but also to pick up as many of the items flying alongside you mid-air. This wouldn't be the only fun you can have with a bucket. Azumavoid has made an obstacle course labyrinth where the progress is only possible by placing down and picking back up several powdered snow blocks. Having some non-Euclidean physics attached to it, powder snow makes for some pretty fun puzzles after all. There is a game even more cerebral. Zombie Cleo builds a new escape room, her last one being all the way back in Season 6. This one is set around a contagion outbreak, so we can probably expect some zombie stuff to pop up, given the author. Though some hermits may have to rack their brain more literally against the many obstacles False Symmetry peppered her iceboat racetrack with.
But yeah, I've made this look a little prettier. I might add some more detail, cobweb. I don't know. I can definitely theme it up a little bit more.
She also provided some mental gymnastics for Impulse SV to somersault his brain through. Impulse returns after a well-earned vacation to find a treasure hunt waiting for him in the form of a series of riddles that leads eventually to what you probably expected all along.
This is it, we found it. So enjoy the treasure as it rains down upon you. Shiny, all nice, there's gonna be dispensers. Oh jeez, oh!
After recovering his stuff and thanking past Impulse for carrying a totem around, he gets back on track with his addition to the minigame district. A recreation of a classic minigame from his Season 3 days. Derailed sees contestants shooting minecarts as they slide across the tracks and occasionally fall at an angle from above. It's your standard shooting gallery minigame with the added complication of minecart physics not quite being what you see as what you get.
It works. It works still. After this many years and redstone changes and all that, it's still actually functioning just fine.
He's not the only one bringing us a blast from the past, because high on a hill above the minigame area, BOO has committed to rebuilding his and Etho's horse course from Season 8. So the fact that he starts his episode by suffocating a horse in a nether portal doesn't bode well.
Okay, this is a rough start. That horse, that wasn't my best horse, but that was a good one.
But after a visit to the car wash and a lot of digging, B-Dubs manages to landscape the place to look virtually identical to the Season 8 version. If you ignore the one section that goes through a frozen tunnel, consider it a remix of the original track. The original decor is certainly all there and cuts an impressive figure on the mountain skyline. And with that chaos taken care of, B-Dubs can return to his much less turbulent job of being the king's right-hand man. Which brings us neatly to our recurring segment, which this week we're calling Farewell to the King, a movie reference so obscure we didn't even bother photoshopping it this time. While Joe Hills' week is mostly spent away from the royal court, he does take advantage of the treasury's remaining assets by taking on any royal quests that still give out diamonds he can use to play the Digger Pie game. Although he may be doing that under the impression that Digger Pie is a food shop, and with the hope that he can leave enough pies around the castle that the rest of the court won't starve. He's diverted midweek by the side quest of building a sewer into which he wants to move the mandatory Ninja Turtles, by which we mean frogs, during which we learn that frogs with slow falling are hilarious, and a shortcut through the end dimension is not always short, but eventually he installs them in the sewer, at which Good Times with Scar appears and threatens to kill them, which we're pretty sure makes him the Shredder.
You wouldn't dare!
Just a minute, Jelly. I'm killing frogs and threatening people. Quiet down.
You know, I think the French have a word for that.
Never been to France.
Then let's just assume it's escargot, so the next time you use that in a sentence, people will mock you for not knowing the difference between snails and frogs.
Jelly, I am currently conducting intimidation and murder.
Joe's Ringu-inspired axolotl makeover happens just in time for us to write that sentence about it, and then he's whisked away to the nether roof so the rest of the royal court can catch him up on the whole King's Vault idea. To be fair to Joe, he had a prior engagement.
I actually betrayed the king earlier today, but I actually have a brand new engagement. I was taking my girlfriend to propose to her, and she said yes.
What?
Wow.
Wait, hold on.
So here's the deal with the royal vault. To avoid any more subjects coming in and exchanging royal emeralds for the royal budget, Ren demands the crown's diamonds be moved into an impenetrable vault over the roof of the nether. But just dropping them off above the bedrock ceiling wouldn't quite do it, not in the least because some people already spoiled the coordinates. To help protect the vault, Ren commands his immediate courts to each build a segment of the labyrinth leading to where the riches are kept. In doing so, he inadvertently issues a challenge. Breach the vault, make it to the final room, defeat Ren, light the fires, ring the bells, and will consider if monarchy is the best way of running things. Get defeated in the process, and the court splits the whole sum of money between them.
Should you fail,
How many chambers are there?
you shall then be banished to the pit to live the rest of your miserable life with the warden. So do not fail me.
We will not.
We will not.
I already live with the warden. They're not that bad.
The King's Gathering pulls Scar away from building the insides of his shops and into building the insides of the Royal Vault. And just when he was doing so well with the music store and the clothing boutique, and apparently there's going to be popcorn?
So yeah, we got popcorn on all the shelves, and it's going to be amazing.
Well, his side of the vault just might make even more money anyway. Scar made sure to fill it with microtransactions, and you might really want to buy some microtransactions when you're stuck on a parkour level. The parkour course of Scars not only sells you the right to use checkpoints, it even gives you a chance to skip a particularly hard section if you just pay a full diamond block. No such luxury is awarded in Cub Fan's part of the vault. Whoever goes in will have to face off whatever horrors Cub has trapped inside. Room after room, it's a gauntlet of hostile monsters as well as unexpected traps to whittle the adventurers down. The trick, of course, is that Cub has to first, shall we say, recruit said horrors. It's quite convenient they spawn in plentifully on the nether roof. The rest is a little more cumbersome.
The lava is hot, the mobs are angry, and the king's legacy will soon be on the line when hermits try to run this vault, but I'm confident.
The most surprising element in the vault is Grian's room, as in that there is one. Rendog actually recruits Grian into assembling it, as the guy isn't so much a resistance ally as he is a gun for hire. The trick is Ren probably should have hired more than 1 diamond's worth of gun.
I'm going to require assistance for a resistance against the resistance.
The semantics of my entire series dictate that that makes sense.
Now bribed more to the soup group than the King's Court, Grian made his room a trivia game and rigged it so the supers won't have any issue with it. The prize for winning is several sets of diamond armor that 1 would sure help with Cub Fan's part, and 2 look like they cost way more than the only diamond he was given as budget. And if you want to know how all that went down, we want to once again recommend watching everyone's perspectives from this weekend, because it'll be a whole week before we get to recap it. For now, that's it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, my name is Pixelriffs, and captions on this video were provided by Lyarrah. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.